Hello, I'm going to do the Capricorn daily energy, and this may or may not resonate with you. If it does, take what does. If it does not, leave what does not. All right, we're going to get some tarot. We're going to get some clarifiers, close out with some oracle. And I'm feeling like maybe doing one of my crystal stones, crystal cards at the end. So stay tuned and see which crystal card I pick. What's going on with Capricorn? We have Ace of Cups, we have the World, we have the Ace of Wands, we have the King of Swords. King of Swords, King of Swords, King of Swords. All right. King of Swords. So the Seven of Cups came out. We have the Sun card. The Sun, the Sun. Two of Pentacles, the Moon. Four of Pentacles, and the Chariot. I almost feel like it's this stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. You're like moving forward and then you stop it. Things start to happen and then you stop it. Things don't happen and then you stop it. It's almost like I feel like you may be overwhelmed by some energies. We've got the Ace of Cups and we have the Ace of Wands. So it could be about a new relationship, something new that is starting. Sometimes, okay, for some reason, that's saying be careful what you wish for, because sometimes when it actually happens, we become overwhelmed with it. We're like, oh wow, like this is really happening for me. I'm not really sure what to do. And now what do I do now that this is happening? Like, I wasn't really thinking this was going to happen. And sometimes that thing turns out different than what we were thinking. We're like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then all of a sudden it happens. And you're like, oh my gosh, it happened. Now what? I don't know. Do I really want this? Is this really where I want to go? Is this really what I want to have happen? And I feel like that's kind of what's happening here, is this Ace of Cups and this Ace of Wands is these new starts and these new beginnings. And then when I saw this King of Swords, he was just sticking in my mind, and he's like, I feel like it was overthinking. And then the Seven of Cups came up and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed by all of these things. So being so overwhelmed makes you step back, makes you kind of block this energy. It's like, no, I don't think I want this. But then we have the Chariot, which is like, yes, I do want this. I don't want this. I do want this. You know, going back and forth saying, I don't know. I'm too overwhelmed. So the key is to find that balance between embracing this but not becoming overwhelmed with it. So I kind of feel like the energy for this week is kind of feeling maybe a little overwhelmed this week, maybe feeling anxious. I think the Seven of Cups has come out a couple times this week in readings for Capricorn. So feeling anxious, feeling overwhelmed this week, maybe by things that are happening, and to not let those become too much to where you start to back off and it's like, I just don't even want to do anything because it's becoming overwhelming. Ace of Cups, Ace of Cups, okay, an awakening, a renewal, a revival, okay. We have the Judgment card, a judgment. Could be about looking at relationships differently, new relationships, old relationships, reconciling relationships, looking at things differently, opening up your eyes to those. Who's with you, who's not. Looking at the relationships around you. Okay, we have the World card, and then we have the Hangman. Look at, I love that. Stepping back, taking a break. If you feel it's overwhelming you, go ahead, take that step back. Look at things from a different perspective. Is it relationships that are coming in and you're like, I feel like for some of you that you are really taking a look at the relationships around you and you're seeing what energy those relationships are giving off and how is that affecting you. I feel like that plays a big part in us and how we are dealing with things and what's going on with us is those energies and those people that we surround ourselves with. Is that rubbing off? I know that when for me, when I'm surrounded by kind of drama, when I'm in those situations, that I start to get into that, and it's like, wait a minute, you know, like this is becoming too much. This is becoming overwhelming. This is not the direction that I want to go. This is not the energy that I want to surround myself with. So I have to step back, make sure that I'm careful of that, and I readjust that relationship so that it's like, okay, I can't be involved in that. I need to step back. I need to step away. So that may be what's going on here, is opening your eyes to those relationships that are around you and seeing how are those influencing you. All right, Ace of Wands. Okay. 4 of Wands. Maybe there's some new relationships coming in. Making sure that those relationships, whether it's friendships or a partnership, that those are what you want, that you don't become overwhelmed with those, or those ones, maybe it's looking at those new relationships, okay? We have the King of Swords and we have the Queen of Swords, okay? It could be on your personal relationships, your partnerships, taking a look at those and seeing how that feels. Taking a look at that, not those. Or it could be personal. I said those, so it could be people that are in your inner circle. Like taking a look at those and seeing how those are affecting you. Yeah. 2 of Swords and 2 of Pentacles with the 7 of Cups. Not rushing into anything, finding that balance between, like I was saying, that if it's a relationship, looking at that and saying, is this becoming, is that energy a negative energy that is affecting me, and how do I find that balance between keeping the lines of communication open but not becoming overwhelmed by that energy that is coming in. Okay, we have the Sun card. Again, balance, 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 okay? We have the 2 of Pentacles twice here. This also has the infinity sign, which is individual empowerment and everlasting love, okay? Having that individual empowerment, okay? Justice, things falling in your favor with the Sun card. Things are happening for you. Things are, you know what? I feel like maybe what I was just thinking is that because your life is changing, I feel like maybe it's always sort of been the same to some degree, but I feel like with these changes coming in, I feel like it's maybe not even knowing how to balance that out and how to handle that. And because this is like a new area for you, and maybe you've just moved to a new area, maybe you've started a new job, so it's all new people, it's all new area, it's all new start for you. It's all maybe in a job, like you're moving up and you're becoming more financially secure, and you're like having all of these more opportunities for you, and you're like, how do you embrace that? But then it's like the people around you, are they seeing that you're more financially secure, and are they taking advantage of that, or are they your true friends, and are those relationships adjusting and changing? And I feel like that's something to take a look at, and that's because your life is changing, like around you is changing. And how are you handling that? Okay, I feel that maybe it is just yourself, like just your attitude, just your outlook is changing, and you're becoming more busy, and you're becoming more involved, and you're taking all these opportunities, and maybe the people around you are looking at that, and maybe and with these changes and these things coming up, that can become worrisome, because we also have this 4 of Pentacles, but don't worry about things that you can't control, because it's almost like if you have too much on your mind, it's like you're going to stop the progress, you're going to stop the forward motion, and to not overthink it, and to embrace the change that's coming in, but also to see the energy that is surrounding you, and making sure that you keep that safe and you keep that positive. All right, Temperance. being patient, not rushing anything, not forcing anything, but also not worrying about those things that you can't control, that you can't see, that you can't, maybe because things are changing, you're like, well, where is this going? Like, I always had a picture of what's going to happen in the path that I was going to take, but now with all of these new things coming in, you're like, this is so overwhelming. Which way am I going? What am I going to do? But to not be overwhelmed by that and just take it one step at a time. Taking that step back if you need to take a step back. To do what's best for you, okay? To do what makes you happy right there. Sun and justice. Again, justice, things may be falling in your favor. New jobs, new relationships, new opportunities coming in for you. That can be overwhelming, but to not let it overwhelm you to get to this stress and anxiety. Which I feel like this week, like I was saying before, is I feel like there may be a lot going on and a lot of anxiety and a lot of change, but to not be overwhelmed with it. Sometimes for me, just as a little tip, like if I become overwhelmed with something, I start making lists, and I'm like, okay, even if it's just like some days I become so overwhelmed, and it's like, okay, I make a list for the day. Okay, these are the things that I want to get done. And that way I know, okay, if I get these things done, then I'll feel comfortable. I'll feel good. I'll feel safe. That I'll feel like I have things under control. I don't feel like I'm spiraling out of control. So making a list, is it, those daily activities, or is it, okay, I have to call a bunch of people. These are the phone calls I need to make. What can I check off today? Can I at least check off 2 today? What are those things that I can do? Listing things out so it's out of your head, it's on the paper, you can see it, you can manually check it off and know, okay, that's done, that's over with. And if that helps you to relieve some of the stress, then that's what you need to do. All right, so let's get a fortune reading card, and then let's get a crystal card. Snake, your intuition and healing powers will guide you to a better path, but be careful. Be careful to not be overwhelmed with it. I feel 100% that you are on a better path, that you are in with this Ace of Cups and this Ace of Wands. You are on a better path, but don't be overwhelmed by it. Be careful. Be careful to not get stuck in that overwhelming. The 9 of Swords and the 7 of Cups, to not get stuck in that energy in the King of Swords, overthinking, overprocessing. Feeling lighter, feeling free. Like I said from the beginning, it's stop and go. I feel like it's stop and go and stop and go. Sometimes just recognizing what it is that you're doing helps you to manage things better. All right, so this one just kind of came out. So this is the stone. And then we have blue spinel. Persistence, fresh perspective, hangman. Okay, that's fresh perspective. Revival. Oh, look at that. Persistence. I don't know which one. What card would be persistence? Maybe the Knight of Wands. Look at that. Judgment, renewal, revival. Right there, revival. Hangman. Fresh perspective. Revive, to keep alive. Blue spinel brings new energy to stagnant parts of your life, from inside your body to the world outside. The name of the stone comes from the Latin word for spine, and blue spinel will give you a strong backbone, a sense of self, and reason to stand tall despite any changes you may face. This is a great crystal for workaholics as it eases stress and anxiety, Nine of Swords, and instills a renewed sense of resolution. You can make it to the end if you put your mind to it. Blue spinel provides that fresh perspective to reset and rejuice. Gemini, Pluto. All right, that's like a perfect card here, okay? To not get caught up in things, to persevere, to push through forward, not to be overwhelmed by things, but to embrace the things that are coming in. To embrace the Ace of Cups and embrace the Ace of Wands, not having this 4 of Pentacles backing off, but then feeling like you want to move forward. All right, thank you so much for watching. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.